So she could sing, act, and dance, but the question is, J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, is she still the queen of the rom-com, the romantic comedy? All right, J-Lo having a bit of a huge comeback because, she never went nowhere. But, sometimes you got to reinvigorate yourself, try it again, try new things, especially somebody like her who, of course, always put her artistry in the forefront and lots of opinions behind it. But you got to shake things up a little bit and take some time. And I think this time, for the first time in a while, she actually did take some time. Now she's back with an office romance, romantic comedy. That's the title, of course, of the movie, Office Romance. She plays a very powerful, yet there's complicated issues within family as well, and then love life, and just all the things you kind of do when you mix up business, power, success, but like balance as well. And love will eventually seep in. Now, this was created by Brett Goldstein. Brett Goldstein was from Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso was a huge show. You knew the actor Brett Goldstein, but you didn't know he was going to create something like this in a few years later. And that's the thing about actors. Sometimes you see all the different skill sets they have. I had no idea, but this actor, he actually had a comedy special as well. And of course, Office Romance, he not only wrote this, but he kind of had J-Lo in mind when he put the whole project together called Office Romance. Now, what do I think about it? I mean, there was a lot of different things about it. It is one of those things where you have to go into the project, the Netflix viewing of it. You turn it on Netflix, you enjoy it, and just understand it to be just that, a romantic comedy. Nothing more, nothing less. You want a little bit of free time to kind of crack a smile. Don't go back to yesteryear and compare it to the old romantic comedies of like the 90s and the early 2000s. It might be a little bit different, especially because Netflix sort of requires that. They got to be very punchy with the jokes. They got to be very punchy with the way they create movies and shows on streaming. So it's very J-Lo and Brett Goldstein in a romantic comedy, but set of this era. So it kind of like makes sense. If you like faster, not really slapstick, but faster jokes that are just like all throughout the movie, you're going to get them with this. Now, not everyone enjoys a romantic comedy. I know that there's a lot of like, escapism is where it used to be with romantic comedy. You just kind of wanted to watch for 2 hours and enjoy and laugh. But the times have changed in terms of the way people view stuff. Now, if you do like a romantic comedy, I would say this is great. It was a lot of laughing. So one thing that was good about it was you were able to be sort of intrigued with a new set of actors and actresses you've never seen before. And the side character who played like the best friend for the business with J-Lo, who was, she played Jackie Cruz from Air Cruise. And that character was real fun. And I'm not all the way familiar with her work in the way that I would be familiar with. Amy Sedaris was in this. Tony Plana was in this. Edward James Olmos was also in this, which if you think about it, J-Lo and Edward James Olmos have not done a side-by-side acting role since Selena all those years ago. So though he plays the father again, he's not in it a whole lot, but he's in it a lot and enough to make the dynamic of J-Lo's character, Jackie Cruz, to kind of give her some of the stuff that's kind of been in her mind and some of the restrictions she's put upon herself, also by way of him. Those are those interesting family dynamics. So again, you got family dynamics, you got business, you got success. So if you want to see success, you'll see that. If you want to see romance, and if you want to see J-Lo looking good, you want to see Brett Goldstein looking good, everyone's body is in tip-top shape. I should have been the body double. I'm joking. But it did make me want to get in the gym because a romantic comedy, sometimes you do like this fun, flirty energy. So yes, is it J-Lo's best rom-com? I don't know. But is it a rom-com that works in the current era right now, like Netflix streaming? Because it's the patience of a romantic comedy isn't what it is in 1990, though I wish it was. I wish you could have stuff like My Best Friend's Wedding, Coyote Ugly, I thought was really a cute movie as well. I mean, there's so many great romantic comedies, but J-Lo, you could joke about it, but I think this is a place that she sits in as maybe not what she likes completely, but like it's what audiences seem to enjoy her for. Audiences will, of course, have opinion after opinion after opinion when it comes to vocal, which okay. And then the dancing is, of course, good and respected and all those things. And, why she dressed in this way after 55 years years old. You know, everyone always has an opinion, but I think it always comes back to J-Lo and the romantic comedy. For me, I like Jennifer Lopez. I've always liked her work and her ambition, her tenacity. So this kind of shines through in this. Now, one other interesting thing is I do think she's having a little bit of a moment, because on the TV show Off Campus, which is on Prime, they featured just a little bit of the song On the Floor, which is with Pitbull, which is like over 15 years ago. And from that, all this excitement and buzz around that song, and even J-Lo for that matter, sort of is coming back. You know, she had a bit of a slower journey when she did the stuff with Ben Affleck, and it was like a This Is Me Now versus This Is Me Then was the new album, but then it had visuals to go with it. That was also on Prime, and it just didn't really resonate. As a huge J-Lo fan, that was the one project where I was like, whoa, whoa, and whoa. Though I love the ambition, she put her own money up to do the project, but it's also like there are times for us all, you know, you could be working at the Piggly Wiggly grocery store and you need to like slow down, and sometimes we're going so fast, a mile a minute, and we're not slowing down to make sure that we do the right things and make sure we're like aligned. And if you're not aligned, you're always playing catch up. And so it does seem like, if you ask me, J-Lo has had a little bit of a moment where she's been away for some time now, which is good. That's actually a good thing in a competitive landscape where you have to be putting out this project, that project, doing an endorsement deal, et cetera, music, thinking about touring, all that sometimes, and then dating and that not going well, especially like J-Lo being the Elizabeth Taylor of our time in terms of the dating. Sometimes you gotta take it slow and balance, which was a way that it resonated in this movie, because her character, though she was, hugely successful, Jackie Cruz, she was, you know, very CEO status and all that stuff, and you love to see, you know, she's aged to perfection, she's dressed in her power suits and all these things, she's at the board meetings, all that stuff is fun, but balance was what she didn't have. And I think J-Lo herself also sometimes doesn't always have the greatest balance. Now, this is saying this as somebody who's a huge Jennifer Lopez fan. So I think it's nice to see that. And I've always said that, even for myself, you know, you always have your passions, but sometimes passion and tenacity could be good, but you got to slow things down. You got to relax a little bit, and you got to bring the thing that makes the most sense. Brett Goldstein writing this project for her, at least for her in mind, hoping that, you know, she'd be the romantic opposite. It works. And he was so funny. His humor was quite funny. Like I said, I knew the actor, Brett Goldstein, from Ted Lasso, but who knew that he also had stand-up comedy? Who knew that he was a creative force and put this project together? So more and more times you see the perfect synergy with all these different elements coming together, and then it makes for a really fun Netflix romantic comedy. Netflix is really starting to test different things. You know, sometimes I go to Netflix and I feel like it's just too much, you know, and sometimes it just is the perfect kind of escape, a little bit of a relaxation. And I think Netflix really got it with this one. Now, there are some scenes that will be delightfully shocking, you know, things that I did not think we would be seeing. And I think you know what I'm talking about if you saw the movie. But all in all, pretty darn good. They travel, you know, they are making business deals. Business deals come with a lot of tension, and you have to know when and how to combat that. And I thought it was just really, really good. So Brett Goldstein, for his character, he plays a lawyer, and it's just real interesting even how that comes together as well. I mean, there just was a great group of people, and it was like a love story mixed with business and success and going too fast, but also finding balance. So if that's what you're looking for, I would say J-Lo definitely did a good job with this one on office romance, while also her song On the Floor just coincidentally also happens to be back on the charts after all these years. Also coincidentally, because On the Floor was played, like I said, on Off Campus, which is a show on Prime. I think it's like 8 or 10 episodes, and that show's huge. But also in that, the character who does dance to On the Floor, she's wearing her version of a signature J-Lo, the green Versace, which J-Lo has worn twice now. We know, not just once, on the American Music Awards, I think, red carpet all those years ago. But I think 5 years ago, it was the 20th anniversary of that. So they did a new and modern take on that green Versace, which, by the way, if you watch reality TV, Summer House, one of the cast members is named Mia. She just went to one of the award shows, and she was wearing, I don't know if it was exactly Gianni Versace. Well, Versace, so Donatella Versace's the exact replica, or if it was something new and more modern for her. But I'm just saying, it's like all of these things right now, all at once, is giving J-Lo a little bit of a comeback. And again, she's never went away, but sometimes she does so much, and that can sort of exhaust audiences. And it's nice that, again, for me, no, because I just always enjoy her work, but sometimes you gotta like have that balance and go, take care of other things, and then re-up the energy that's going to make you a great creative. And that's the case, like I say, with every little thing, every little situation will certainly be like that. But yeah, I thought it was really cool. The timing of it all, I was perfectly ready for a romantic comedy. You got to smile, you got to laugh, you got to joke. And it was kind of like that perfect thing. So it is on Netflix. I kind of wish it could have went in the theaters. It would have been that good. And so, yeah, I guess for me, I'm going to give it 5 stars. Like, I'm going to give it 5 stars for what it is. I'm going to give it 5 stars for what it is. What will be next for Jennifer Lopez? Will she do music again? Is she like kind of in the space of acting? I feel like one thing I think she should be doing more of is creating more opportunities, which she's done in the past, but creating more opportunities that sort of help the next generation of artists, which she has done those things in the past. She's had shows, she's been a part of networks that were very uplifting. But I think as you graduate to her age, the hustle the grind, the tenacity that she had at her 20s, it's got to be reimagined. So just as busy, but not always J-Lo in the forefront, maybe launching that next somebody, under her wing could be something that I think would be smart. J-Lo's challenge is, I think her mind moves like as a world-class athlete. She just always wants to be, she only drinks like 2 times a year. So she always wants to be more and more and more doing and succeeding in everything. The stillness is sometimes the hardest thing, which I think we all relate to that. And maybe the next film that she does can kind of have something in that vein as well, where it's about a sense of balance. But who knows? She might do another, thriller. She might do a, she did El Cantante with Mark Anthony years ago. I thought that was one of my favorites of J-Lo. So you never know where she's going to go. Or is she going to do music again just so people could have opinions on her music? But listen, On the Floor is in the charts again. If you're a J-Lo fan, a J-Lover, this is our time to shine. That's for sure. Anyways, Office Romance, go check it out.